A very good evening and welcome to BCN News. Our top story tonight: after years of planning, the Liolau accommodation project is now open. Members of the Avatele Community, government dignitaries and the invited guests all gathered at Liolau on Tuesday for the official opening of the Liolau Guesthouse. Performing his first duty as the ambassador of the European Union to Niue, Sujiro commissioned the EU-funded Liolau Guesthouse at the village of Avatele on Tuesday afternoon. The guest house features 5 self-contained units which were funded by the European Union to a tune of close to 1 million New Zealand dollars. Sim told those attending the ceremony that the EU supported the project to allow sustainable development and generate income to make a better livelihood to ensure a better future for the young generation.
We believe this guest house, with the 4 rooms, the dormitory, will be a very welcome addition and a very needed addition to the tourism sector here in Niue, which is the number one source of income creation in Niue. Finally, I told you it's also a story of community engagement, because in this project, we agreed with the government of Niue that this will not be a facility owned by the government of Niue or by the European Union. This facility is donated and therefore owned by the community of Avatele. It is for the villagers to decide what to do with it. But I hope, because a shortfall in financing has been mentioned, that you will reuse the income generated by these guest rooms to invest in this building behind you.
The plans for the Liolau project began some 10 years ago, according to the village council chairperson. Before his speech, he asked the gathering to observe 1 minute of silence for all the matuas of the village who supported the project but have passed on. Minister for Social Services Billy Talagi stated the project is not only special for the village of Avatele, but also for Niue.
During Cyclone Heta, there was a lot of damage to both buildings. Hence, we decided to look for possible donors. But before that, European Union has been very generous to Niue with the projects in some of the villages. But with this program, EDF 10, the government decided, instead of sharing the donation from European Union, it was decided that this building should be done from the start to the end. Unfortunately, we can only manage to do one with the amount of assistance given to us.
And the European Union ambassador to Niue and the Pacific, Sujiro says bilateral relations with Niue have strengthened. BCN News spoke with the ambassador today. Ambassador Sujiro on Tuesday presented his credentials and is now officially accredited as the ambassador of EU to Niue. He then met with members of the cabinet.
You know, when we have elections coming in, we always work with the government of the day, which means that we will wait for the election to take place before we re-engage. But having said that, we agreed that our relationship is already very strong and that we have the right priorities set up and that we will try to see how we can do more from the European Union side to assist Niue. I think we are very strong partners when it comes to climate change or oceans or sustainable development, not only on the cooperation side. We also count on Niue to be a strong advocate on these issues in the international stage.
The ambassador's visit was also to inaugurate one of the EU-funded projects, Liolau Accommodation Project in Avatele, and visited other EU-funded project sites such as the National Emergency Operations Center and to see improvements made to the renewable energy, power grid, and waste management. Shared development priorities with Niue, the ambassador says, focuses on climate change, sustainable development with cooperation projects.
We have basically 3 different lines of credit. One which is for the country, so for Niue, under the European Development Fund, EDF, and we are now at the 11th EDF. So under the 11th EDF we funded improvement to the power grid and renewable energy system. We have a second line of credit which is on regional programs. So there is right now in Niue a team from SPREP, the Pacific Regional Environmental Program, which is doing a scoping mission on waste management. They do it because we tasked SPREP to implement our regional program on waste management. So that's also an opportunity to provide support to Niue in the area where we have regional programs. And finally, we have a series of thematic programs which address, for example, resilience, and that's how we managed to finance the Emergency Operations Center. So whichever package we can put together for Niue from the European Union will be a combination of our bilateral lines, our regional programs, and our thematic projects.
Timothy, will